Hello, Horror Hounds, and thanks to one of you, yes, you, my excellent contributors, who had something very nice to say about the video I did ranking the Friday the 13th movies, asked if I could do some more. So this is for you, Dave, and all the rest of you, and for me, because it's fun. I'm going to rank the Hellraiser movies I decided to do. Tons of people have done the Friday the 13th movies, I realise that. Tons of people have done the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I'm sure tons of people have done the Hellraiser movies as well. I'm going to have the help of little Funko Pinhead to just go. We're going to go from worst to best. This is my opinion. Many of you will wildly disagree. I think once we get to the top spots, I think we're in fairly safe territory, but on the way, some of you might disagree with me wildly. It's a matter of taste. I'll try and explain my taste as we go along. So what do you say, Little? You're going to do what to my what? Apart? Completely apart? No. No, you're going to have to sit this one out while we do this. Bad, Pinhead. Unbelievable. Tear it right apart, he said. So, coming in, worst to best. At number 9 is something I can't even hold up because I don't own it, because I refuse to buy it. This is slightly cheating. I've not actually seen it, so it might be the greatest movie in the world, but I suspect that no one is really going to argue with putting in the number 9 slot Hellraiser Revelations, a film that was notoriously made in about 2 to 3 weeks in order to retain the rights, the cinematic rights of the Hellraiser franchise. This is not the behaviour that horror fans deserve, that fans of the Hellraiser mythos deserve. And fans of the Hellraiser mythos in cinema and direct to video, let's face it, by now we are kicked dogs. So we'll move straight on past Revelations, and we'll move to the number 8 spot, which is Hellraiser. So the worst Hellraiser movie that I've actually seen, in my opinion, Hellworld. Set in the real world in which the Hellraiser franchise has spawned a successful, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. There you go. Those words alone will tell you exactly how much this film sucks. It's an attempt to go meta and kind of scream, whereby the Hellraiser, all the people are sort of canny to the Hellraiser films and they've seen them all and understand the Hellraiser mythos. Oh, Jesus Christ. By this point in the franchise, everything you've been watching wasn't real, and now we're going to have a twist revelation showing you that you've just wasted the last 90 minutes of your time on a bunch of hallucinations. By this point, it's getting so old and so tired that even the revelation that they weren't all in hell, but they were just in some sort of drug-induced, suggestive hypno coma. Oh, it's absolutely fucking nonsense. It doesn't even get interest points for a young Henry Cavill, now Superman, Murder Man in the DC Murderverse, a young Superman in this, and I'm afraid the exceptional talents of Lance Henriksen are not enough to save this movie. It is a fucking stinker. It's trash, up, down, left and right. Hellraiser Hellworld, Control, Delete. I just thought of that off the top of my head. Number 7. Hellseeker. Oh, Kirsty Cotton's return to the franchise. Ashley Lawrence. This series is Heather Langenkamp. This series is Nancy Thompson. But I think her return kind of hurts this. It's not a special enough story to have her character come back in. I'll be completely honest with you. It's very much a retread of Inferno, where the character's sort of already dead and everything that's sort of happening is in a kind of limbo hell. The twist isn't enough. Even the twist, Kirsty's sort of deal to swap her soul for others, was something that was played out in the first movie. That's the same bargaining she did. It's kind of nice to see Doug Bradley and actually acting together, and Pinhead sort of going, this is the same sort of shit that you pulled before, I'm getting really bored of this. But it doesn't really cut it for me. It's mediocre, and by this point in the series, even the direct-to-video entries had already been there and done that. I was kind of over it by then. Number 6. This one might get me some flack, but I just don't rate this. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. The revelation of Pinhead's humanity has resulted in a schism, splitting him in two. His human self, World War I veteran Elliot Spencer, and Pinhead, now a living embodiment of Spencer's id. Don't explain your monsters. We understand too much now. Elliot Spencer is now a thing. This Pinhead isn't the Pinhead from the first two movies. He's the unfettered, as the notes there say, id of what Pinhead was, an amalgam of a human soul. And oh my god. And to be honest, what happens when the unfettered id of a Cenobite is let loose is they create some sort of shitty MTV subpar Earthbound versions of the Cenobite designs that we fucking love. The guy with the fucking camera in his eye, get ready for your close-up, and the one that fucking throws CDs at you, utterly fucking pointless. There's a nice moment in a church with a wonderful frisson of delicious blasphemy, and at the time it was even more daring to blaspheme in cinema. So sort of props for that, but the rest falls really woefully flat for me. The building at the end offers a nice tie-in to Bloodlines, but Bloodlines took that tiny little idea and did something more interesting with it. I'm not a fan of Hell on Earth. The fact that the soundtrack features 2 songs by Motorhead, for me, indicates that this is the direction that the franchise was heading at this point. Shiny and shallow. Number 5 then on my list is Hellraiser Deader. Yes, that's right. I'm ranking Deader above Hellraiser 3. Deal with it. Reporter Amy Klein is sent to Bucharest to investigate an underground suicide cult founded by a descendant of Philippe Le Marchand. Except you only get that descendant of Le Marchand stuff, an explanation of the Hellraiser mythos, honestly bolted on right at the end. We know that the script for Deader was an original screenplay retrofitted to become a Hellraiser DTV movie, and I know that the bolting on of the Hellraiser mythos is really quite clunky in the last 5 minutes of this, and the explanation goes by so fast that I think the first time I watched it, I had to rewind it to pick up, because it's just a really quick info dump. Oh, by the way, I'm this guy and this is happening and I need this to do this to open the gates to this, so I can control the box, blah, 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 blah. Until then, I actually think the tone, the vibe of this, the scuzzy Euro trash, investigative journalism, the seedier aspects of applying the journalist's trade, are all really great stuff. It's new stuff. It's a different feel, different texture, different taste from the movies we've had previously. So whilst it's a fairly clunky Hellraiser movie, mythos-wise, I just like the different approach, the different take, what it's going for. So whilst I appreciate that people who do see it as a bit of a clunker, at least I appreciate them trying something different. Plus the scene with her in the bathroom with the knife in her back is grim, and I love the underground train she has to go on and stuff like that. It's I rate this one. Number 4 is, and some of you might disagree with me putting this so highly, Infernal. It was the first of the direct-to-DVD ones. It follows corrupt police detective Joseph Thorne, Boone from Nightbreed, yay! As he discovers the puzzle box while investigating a series of ritualistic murders, and he gets the name of the engineer and tries to track it down, and things go weird. I do like the vibe of this one, whereas Hellseeker felt like a bit of a retread of this, and also co-opted an awful lot of the imagery and feel of Jacob's Ladder. If you're gonna steal from a great movie, have a good story to tell, because this film is not really fit to lick the boots of Jacob's Ladder, and it really is a desperate Jacob's Ladder wannabe. And a bit of a rip of this fucking script for Inferno. You know, he's already opened the box, he's already in hell, he's already in the limbo thing. But for this was the first time the he's already in hell thing was played. So I give it props for that. I think it was going in that if we're going to go now out of the theatre and into the direct-to-video market, start telling some side stories like the comics used to. The Hellraiser comics were fantastic, and Pinhead hardly featured in them. It was much more of an anthology title. So go the anthology route. Have Pinhead hardly appear. Different Cenobites, different stories about people seeking the ultimate experience and transgressing those boundaries and opening the box. If we can't elongate the myth and tell more of the story of Pinhead, because that's kind of played out, let's widen it and have the Hellraiser banner be more of an anthology type thing. That's why I like Deader. That's why I like Inferno. And it's why for the number 3 spot, I am putting the much maligned and much misunderstood Bloodlines. I can't help it. I really like this film. I know it's got issues. I know it had real production problems. I know the director took his name, Kevin Yeager, the guy that designed the Freddy for Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the guy that gave us the best looking Freddy, gave us Hellraiser Bloodlines and took his name off it because of studio interference. The final product was too different from the film he wanted to give us. Fans are crying out for a director's cut of Hellraiser Bloodline. I don't think we're ever going to get it. It was going to focus much more heavily on Angelique. Pinhead was already being rightfully, I think, sidelined. He was going to come in towards the end. It tells the story of the creation of the puzzle box. It spans generations. It even manages to take the franchise into space and not suck enormously hard, which is a mean feat in my book. I love the Angelique, the old school sort of chaos demon from the chaotic hell of temptation, versus the much more administrative Pinhead, Cenobite, an unordered hell now, almost a sort of boring hell. And Pinhead always had the sort of weary air of a centuries-old accountant from hell. He kind of lost the verve and taste of it. It's a desk job to him almost. He's seen everything. He's done everything. He's experienced everything. And I love the idea of evil going from chaos to this sort of ordered boringness, which is what I think true evil eventually becomes. I don't want to wax too lyrical about this, but an awful lot of the Third Reich must have been paperwork, the running of the concentration camps, paying of wages, just ordering all of it, the banality of evil, and Pinhead is that personified. So I love the face-off between the two different types of demon, the two different approaches to hell. Even the studio tinkering, even the reshoots, even the obvious running out of a budget in the middle section, the architect section, even all of that can't suppress, to my mind, the imagination and scale of what was attempted here, all the way up to the Elysium configuration, the space station. I much prefer projects that shoot for the moon and miss than ones that just get a couple of Motorhead songs and try and design some new cool fucking Beavis and Butthead Cenobites, man. The kids love the Cenobites. I'd rather have an imaginative failure than a corporate ball-sucking exercise. Which leaves me opening my nice little collector's tin of Hellraiser 1 and 2, because the 1 and 2 spots are taken, as you might imagine, by Hellraiser 1 and 2. So as we open the tin and bring out the little CD case of Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2, which gets the number 2 spot? The number 2 spot goes to Hellraiser 2, Hellbound. I love Dr. Channard. I love Leviathan. I love Christopher Young's score for this. I mean, the score for Hellraiser is amazing. He's the guy that did the music for Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Amazing music. But he finds another gear. He finds another level in this, all the way up to the Alpine horn as the voice of the Leviathan, blasting out the word God in Morse code. It's amazing. The ending is a little choppy. It's a little scrabbled together, choppily edited, sort of a rush to the end, which is a little confusing, to be honest. It left them in a bit of a strange place to get to Hellraiser 3. If they've decided they didn't have to go with Pinhead all the time, they could have gone somewhere more interesting with Hellraiser 3. As it was, they had to tie themselves in knots explaining why Pinhead turned into a human form at the end, and that just got boring for me. Julia truly becomes the horror icon in this, moving from the wicked stepmother of the first film to a sort of crazy Clive Barker version of the Bride of Frankenstein. She almost becomes the Bride of Hell, and the original intention was for her, for the franchise, to move on with her as the main villain. Still, at this point, Pinhead wasn't the iconic lead in their minds. It was only fan reaction to Pinhead that caused him to be so. And yeah, I love Hellbound, but the number 1 spot has to go to Hellraiser. Claire Higgins, Andrew Robinson, Come to Daddy. Jesus wept. The amount of innovation, imagination, balls to the wall, fucking innovative horror that's in this. The subtext, the themes, the BDSM, the sexuality, the use of practical special effects, just the fucking mythos from the mind of the genius that is Clive Barker. The number 1 spot, the greatest Hellraiser movie of them all, is, of course, Hellraiser. Do you agree with me?